Hey guys, welcome back to Hike Oregon, and thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I just hit 1,000 and I'm so excited, and I just wanted to let you know how thankful I am for my awesome YouTube family. I know a lot of you comment frequently, and it's been really nice to establish a kind of friendship and a nice community with you guys. So thank you so much for your support, and I'm so excited about where this channel is going. As a thank you for 1,000 subscribers, I wanted to do a Q&A video. Since last time I made a Q&A, I only had about 300 subscribers, maybe less. So a lot of you don't know a lot about me. So I asked you guys to ask me any kinds of questions that you wanted, and I got quite a few questions. So let's get started. So Hike with Mike from YouTube asks, what are some areas outside of Oregon that you would like to hike and camp in the future? Basically, your hiking, camping bucket list. That is a great question, Mike. I would love to hike in Hawaii. I have heard that some of the hikes there, or a lot of the hikes there, are really hard because they basically go from sea level up to 5, 6, 7,000 feet. So they're really hard. There's lots of cool waterfalls and hidden places to explore, and I've never been to Hawaii, so that is definitely a place I would love to hike. As far as camping, hiking, and camping backpacking, I would love to backpack in New Zealand. It's so beautiful there. I've seen just gorgeous pictures of amazing scenery, and I think that would be a really cool place to backpack and explore. I think that's pretty much it. Those are my two big places that I want to go. I'm definitely not a mountaineer, so I don't have any desire to do anything extreme in Nepal or anything like that, where the mountains are more mountaineering instead of hiking, so that doesn't really appeal to me as much. But yeah, definitely backpacking in New Zealand and hiking in Hawaii. So I'm gonna answer another question, this time from K Pitarel1. Yeah, not good with the usernames here on YouTube. He's from YouTube, also a friend who's emailed me multiple times. His name is Jeff. So that's a little easier for me to pronounce. He had two questions for me. One was, can you show all your tattoos and explain the meaning behind them? Which I'll do in a second. And number two, have you hiked over in the Wallowas in Eastern Oregon? I have not, so that's an easy question to answer. I have not, but it's definitely on my to-do list. Oregon is so huge, and I really only started hiking every weekend 3 years ago. Oregon just has so many trails that I basically just stuck to day hikes in my area, and I have been able to cover new day hikes in my area for the past 3 years, and I'm now just exhausting those hikes. So I've done pretty much all of them in my area. There's still ones I haven't done, but pretty much all of them. That just goes to show there are hundreds and thousands of hikes in Oregon. So Wallowas are on my list, and I will hopefully get to them within a year or so, and I've heard they're beautiful. So let's get back to the tattoo question. Can you show all your tattoos and explain the meaning behind them? I guess we can start with the first tattoo that I got. It's on my ankle here. So basically, when I was 18, I just got the writing. It's Sanskrit, and it says Muktananda, which means the bliss of liberation, or the bliss of freedom. And then about a year later, I got the lotus flower around it. It's a very used symbol in the Hindu religion. So, but I also had a dream about it. So yeah, I decided to enhance that a little bit. So that was when I was 18 and 19. My second tattoo is that one right there. I can zoom in for you. So that is Sanskrit. It's much more detailed than it looks zoomed in like that, but you can kind of see pretty detailed. And it is 2 verses from the Sri Guru Gita, which is a book in the Sanskrit religion. I combined 2 verses that I really liked, and the combination of the 2 verses basically means I bow down to the Guru's feet so that he can wash away sins of many lifetimes. So that's the verses in short, like super short. So that was my second, or I guess third tattoo, since the first 2 were combined. And then my third tattoo, the one on my other shoulder. Oh, that one zoomed in a lot better. Okay, so that one, let's see, yeah, there you go. So it's basically like a mixing board, pretty simply. Yeah, so I got this after I graduated from audio engineering school. I have a degree in audio engineering, so yeah, a mixing board, like the faders and then the knobs and stuff, and then some musical notes, and then the M and L stand for my siblings' initials, which is Marika and Lucas. I wanted something to honor them and stuff like that. So get some natural lighting on this. So here is my other tattoo. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites. He did a really amazing job with that. And then my most recent tattoo is right here. It's basically like a postage stamp type thing. Well, it's basically just a friendship tattoo. My friend has the other one, and it says Eugene, Oregon on it, or in the stamp, because that's where we met, and then the year we met as well. So anyway, those are my tattoos. Hope you enjoyed. David Parker from YouTube asked, to date, what has been your favorite hiking area and why? Favorite hiking area in Oregon. Let's just keep it to Oregon. I would say overall my favorite place to hike is Alaska, but we're talking about Oregon here. This is a Hike Oregon channel, so favorite place to hike in Oregon is the Three Sisters Wilderness, just because it's so diverse. You have everything from beautiful lush forests and rivers and lakes to above tree line and like rugged mountain terrain. So you have everything in like one wilderness. So that is definitely one of my favorite areas to hike in Oregon. JT Healy from YouTube asked, what do you like most about hiking? It's kind of hard to describe. I think I described it a little bit in my other Q&A, which I will link below, by the way. In case you hadn't watched that, you can get to know me a little better. I like that I get to be out in nature, and that nature re-energizes me in a way. So from the week of working, I feel really like depleted mentally and sometimes emotionally, depending what's going on in my life, but I get really just like, just down. And then as soon as I go hiking, it just like lifts my spirits and re-energizes me. As soon as I like come back from a hike, I just have this new outlook on life, and like anything is possible, and I just get totally re-inspired, and I think that's why I like hiking the most. And of course, you know, it gives me exercise, which is nice. I mean, I can work out at home too, but it's, you know, I feel like I've done something, especially walking longer miles and stuff like that. I really feel like accomplished. I feel like I can do anything. And that's an awesome feeling to have. So I think that's why I like hiking the most. A Colo Hi from YouTube asked, how many months ahead do you have your trips planned out? I loved this question because you probably think that I like have all these trips planned like months ahead of time, and like I'm going here on this weekend, I'm going here on this weekend. That is not the case whatsoever. I know, I might be blowing your mind. Most of the time, it's Friday afternoon, and I'm like, shit, I don't know where to hike. And I'm looking through my guidebooks and my maps and all this junk. So Basically, I'm really last minute, which is funny because when I plan for anything else, I'm like months out, it's on my calendar, and I'm super planned out. With hiking, okay, where are we going in 24 hours? Less than 24 hours, where are we going? I'm flipping through my book or whatever, looking up the map. In the summer, it's a little bit different because I know I have a limited window to do some of these high elevation hikes. So I do have certain hikes that I've written down that like I know I want to do this summer before it starts snowing again. So I do have certain hikes in the summer that I know I want to do, but that's as far as I go with planning my hikes out. Here's a serious question. Well, to preface this question, I guess, if you didn't watch my previous Q&A video, basically I kind of explained how I got into hiking, and it basically was because I was getting over being addicted to drugs. So hiking was a huge part of me getting clean. So Pat Outdoors from YouTube asked, how did you get addicted to drugs, and how did hiking help overcome this? I know this is very personal, but it is a fact about you that I admire. Thank you so much, Pat. That means a lot to me. And yes, it is really personal, and it's a little hard to talk about, but I know it's important because I know there's so many people struggling with addiction, and you know, if someone is watching this and has never even thought about like hiking, oh, the hiking could help, you know, maybe I can open someone's eyes and help them, which would be amazing. So he asked, how did I get addicted to drugs? Basically, I've always had a pretty addictive personality. I think it either runs in your genes or it doesn't. Addiction does run on both sides of my family, on my mom's side and my dad's side. And basically I was in college and was introduced to OxyContin, and just as like a party thing. And so to start with, yes, it was kind of like a, you know, every couple of months, like just a party thing. I liked it a little too much, and it became slowly, this was over like a 2-year span of time, it became a weekly thing, you know, just on weekends, but every week, and then it became a, you know, a couple times a week thing, and then it became a daily thing, you know, just at night or something, and then it quickly from there became like a multiple times a day thing, to the point where I could not function without the drug. Luckily for me, OxyContin got taken off the market, at least the form of pills that I was doing. They became a different formula. So it became very expensive and just not a habit that I could support, which, thank God, if that hadn't changed, I would probably not be here today. So I'm very happy that they changed that formula and that the prices went up and everything happened like it did. And I was like, okay, I have to get clean. So I got clean with the help of an addiction specialist, and then I was really depressed for about 1.5 years. Like really, really depressed. Like I don't even remember that 1.5 years really, because I was just in such a daze. And then one summer day I went hiking, and after that hike I was just on cloud 9. I just felt so alive, and I hadn't felt like that in over 3 years, almost 4 years. Because when you're doing drugs, you don't feel alive. You kind of stop feeling. So that was the first time in a really long time that I felt really alive, and I wanted to continue feeling like that. So I just continued hiking. I still feel like that today. Every time I go out, I feel super I call it my hiker's high. I love it. I hope that everyone can experience that feeling. Body X Politic from YouTube asked, what's your kitty's name? He was referring to the one video where I showed my one cat, but I actually have 4 cats. So here's one of them. This is Beefcake. Hi, buddy. Yeah, he says hi. That's Beefcake. This is Stewie. Hi, Stewie. Hi. Yep, so they're both Persians, as you can see. They have no nose and a little bit weepy eyes. We clean their faces every day, but that's Stewie. And then we have Ancho over here. He's the oldest. Hi. Yep, he says hi with a purr. This is Arkaya. Hi. She's really sweet too. She's outside most of the time. Hi. Uh-oh, white fluff approaching. The squished-faced cats don't really get along with the long-nosed cats. They're a little racist. A Jolly Hiker from YouTube asked, what are your goals for the channel? That's a good question. I don't really know. I don't really have specific goals. I mean, it would be nice to like have this be a full-time income, but I know that's a little bit unrealistic. So, I mean, for now, I love making the YouTube videos. I love chatting with you guys in the comments and getting the word out about, you know, the Hike Oregon business. It's a huge platform to open people's eyes to the Hike Oregon business. So I think that's why initially I started it, because YouTube is the #2 most used search engine. So why am I not on that search engine for my business? So, and it's, I mean, it's a bonus that the videos make some money. That's great, but ultimately it is a platform to take people over to Hike Oregon, and that is ultimately my goal, is to make Hike Oregon a well-rounded business. Next, I have Paul D. Green from YouTube asked, do you ever hike in states other than Oregon? If so, what states have you hiked in? Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, Paul. Yes, I do hike in states other than Oregon. Not very often, but I do. I have hiked in Washington, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. I think that's it so far. Oh, Alaska. I've been to Alaska. I did like a month-long backpacking trip there. So yes, about 6 states other than Oregon. But I don't do it very often just because I don't travel that often, honestly. I have a full-time job and Hike Oregon business. So basically 2 full-time jobs, and yeah, I have so much hiking to do here. So, you know, since I started the Hike Oregon thing, I haven't actually hiked in any other states other than Oregon. Tom Henderson from YouTube asked, do you have plans to hike the JMT? The John Muir Trail? Yes, I do. I would love to do that in 2019 in the summer. So that's the plan. So I gotta apply for my permit in the beginning of 2019. Summer of 2018, I will be doing the whole Oregon section of the Pacific Crest Trail. And then, yes, my goal in 2019 is to do the John Muir Trail. And I'm so excited. It just looks so gorgeous. I can't wait. Batida Adventures from YouTube asks, what gear do you use for videos? Also, what technology do you take hiking, and what are the uses? Okay, as far as what I use to film my videos, this is my camera. It's just a Sony, like, handheld type thing. Yeah, it's super tiny and really lightweight, so that's what I use to shoot my videos with. And then as far as what technology I take hiking, I just take my iPhone, my little charger for the iPhone, which is just this backup charger. It can charge my phone, I think, up to 4 or 5 times fully, so I just have that. That's what I take hiking. And then I just have my camera, my DSLR camera, and I generally take a few different lenses with me, depending on the hike. So that's all the technology that I take with me on hikes. Phil Danderand from Facebook asked, what do you plan to do if you have a catastrophic gear failure or emergency while backpacking and there's no immediate help? This is a funny question. I don't really know what you mean, Phil, by catastrophic gear failure. That is so rare. I guess like if my tent broke or something, that would not be the end of the world, I don't think. I guess if my shoes broke or something, I could always duct tape. I guess the only thing that would be like detrimental if it broke, I guess would be my like backpack, like the strap or something like that. But I think even that could be fixed. I mean, I carry rope with me and stuff, so I feel like I could fix that. But let's just say emergency instead of gear failure. If I had an emergency, like let's say I sprained my ankle or something like that, that's a tough one. If I was by myself and I sprained my ankle, I would probably hunker down and wait for someone to come help me. If I was with someone, we would probably limp out together. But yeah, I would probably just hunker down and wait for someone, just because someone always knows where I am. So, you know, it wouldn't be too long before they would find me. So I think that's what I would do. I just hunker down, wait for help. I think is always the best policy, especially if you're lost or something like that. I guess that would be an emergency. If you're lost, stay put. Don't continue wandering off. I think that's one of the worst things you can do. Brendan Cornwall from Facebook asks, have you always been interested in hiking, and if not, how did the interest develop? So I answered this on my other Q&A that I did, but I will answer it again in short. I have been hiking ever since I was really, really young. My dad started taking me hiking at like age 5 and 6, so I've always hiked. We used to go on, every summer we would go on like a big backpacking trip and stuff like that. So I've always hiked, but I didn't really fall in love with it until you know, 4 years ago. That story I told earlier, when I got clean and started hiking and just really fell in love with it and started doing it pretty seriously on my own. Before that, I was younger, and you know, I would always just go with my dad because I wanted to spend time with my dad, and he would plan these epic trips and stuff. So, but it wasn't like me wanting to go hiking necessarily. Shanna Anderson from Facebook asks, what do you use as mosquito repellent? Well, I've tried the natural stuff. Doesn't really work, and it's really smelly. I find this overpowering like citrus eucalyptus smell is just like bleh. I've tried a lot of different things. Right now I'm just using the DEET, the non-scented DEET. You have to be careful with DEET because if it sprays too aggressively on your clothing, it will put a hole in your clothing, which is not good. So you have to make sure the sprayer is really like a mist on you instead of like a harsh spray, because that will ruin your clothes. That's just what I use. The mosquitoes here in Oregon in some areas can be just so brutal, and I get really big welts when I get bitten by a mosquito, bitten, and so I don't want, I can't. So I'm using the DEET right now. Noonan Rubik from Facebook asks, what are your favorite non-wool hiking socks? Well, I don't have any because I don't wear non-wool hiking socks. I only wear Darn Tough hiking socks, and they are a merino wool blend. So I don't do anything else except wool. Patrick Gladhart Hayes from YouTube and Instagram, he commented twice, asked, what is your favorite memory of your brother when he was a young child? Now, he knows my brother, so that's why he asked this question. I will answer it because I've been thinking about it a little bit. There isn't like a specific memory, but when I think about my brother being younger, what comes to mind is just how like just sweet and like snuggly he always was. And he's still sweet and likes to hug and stuff, but I mean, especially when he was very little, he was always like just so like wanted to be on you, wanted to be held and like snuggled, and just very like sweet. And so that's just one of my favorite things about him in general. Shadow Warrior 2169 from YouTube asked, what is your best and worst hike ever? Oh goodness. Best hike ever. That's so hard, dude. There's so many amazing hikes I've been on. Okay, best hike ever. Park Meadow to Golden Lake. The first time I went there, I saw Golden Lake and I got teary-eyed because it was so beautiful that like I couldn't handle the emotions of how beautiful it was. I like literally started like getting teary-eyed. So that is the best hike I've ever been on. Just for that reason. Worst hike I've ever been on? I hate to say this because it was an experience, but I would probably have to say the 80 miles of the Appalachian Trail that I did. I hated it. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. We were wet for like 10 days. Like, just soaked. Everything was soaked. And the hill, the up and down, I can't. That was probably the worst hike I've ever been on. And it was 10 days long. Or less. It was a little less, I think. I think it was like 8. Yeah, must have been like 8 days. Horrible. Okay, Stephanie, I'm gonna mispronounce your last name. Ranizon? I'll just keep it at that. How do you store your food during overnight hikes here in Oregon? I'm curious what precautions you use. Good question. I used no precautions. That is not to say that you shouldn't. I just put my food in like those big gallon Ziploc bags. I didn't do anything specific other than that. And then I kept the bags in my pack, but kept the pack open outside my tent. Sometimes if it was raining or something, I would take it in. But I know there's like rodents, and I know I've heard a lot of people say, you know, rodents will eat through your pack and stuff. But I did not experience any issues with rodents when I was on the PCT here in Oregon. I mean, we saw a couple of chipmunks, but none like hanging out in the camp. None would come to our tent or anything like that. So I felt okay leaving. I mean, I wouldn't leave the food out, like, on the table. We did have, like, those scrub jays and stuff that do swoop down and like to take your food if it's out on the table. But I would just, you know, every time I'm done with my food bag, I would seal it, you know, Ziploc it, put it back in my bag. I will probably have a, like, Sea to Summit food bag on my next Pacific Crest Trail trip. And I think those are more like protective of odor. I think if you have a Ziploc and the Sea to Summit but food bag, I think you're good to go. You don't need to hang your food bag. We don't have aggressive bears in Oregon, and other than that, we don't have anything that's gonna like actively really look for your food and be like dangerous. So I don't think you have to hang your food bag, but it's I mean, it's up to you. So that's just what I did. I know maybe people are gonna comment and be like, you need to be more cautious and stuff, but I never had any issues. So Wendy Kronk from Facebook, she told a little story about how they hiked Fawn Lake and the mosquitoes basically carried them. So any tips or recommendations on sprays/lotions that work through sweat and sun? Yeah, the mosquitoes in the Diamond Peak Wilderness are like some of the worst in Oregon. I swear they are just huge. They're like pterodactyls, and they're like in swarms. It's crazy how that area is so insane. DEET, honestly, DEET is the only thing that really works. If you want to get crazy with it, you can do the permethrin, I think it's called, and like you can soak your clothes in it so that you don't have to apply the DEET as often, because like you said here in your comment, it does kind of come off with sweat. I just reapply the DEET, honestly, and the DEET tends to last a long time on me. You know, I've had it last for 4 hours or so before I have to reapply, but I mean, I know it sucks. We all know it's not good for you, it's not good for your skin, it's not good for your health, but honestly, if you want to hike in Oregon between June and early August, you're gonna have to spray something, and DEET, I have found, is the only thing that works. And my last but not least question is, Almar Garcia from Facebook asked, how much water should I carry on a multi-day hike? I plan to hike the PCT in the Mount Jefferson Park area and would like to include some of the side trails off the PCT, such as Pamelia Lake and maybe Marion Lake. That is up to you on how often you want to filter water. That area, Jefferson Park area of the PCT, and the area that you're talking about, Pamelia Lake, Marion Lake, there's so much water there that you don't really need to carry more than like 1 liter, just because you can refill like every mile, you can refill every like 2 miles, 3 miles at most. There's streams, there's all those lakes. You don't have to carry a lot. And the more you carry, the heavier obviously your pack is going to be. So keep that in mind. I know it can be a pain to, you know, if you're pumping water or you have to stop and that kind of thing, but honestly, you don't have to carry it on your back, which is great. So I recommend carrying as little as possible, just because you know there's so much water in the area. And if you get good maps, you'll see all of the streams, you'll see all of the rivers and all of the lakes, even like the small ponds and stuff. So I say carry 1 liter, not more than that. You don't have to carry more than that. Thank you so much for watching this Q&A, and now stay tuned for the t-shirt drawing. All of you that commented a question are entered into the drawing. So let's go. Okay guys, I have entered all of your names into random.org. The service that lets you pick like a winner is a paid service. So basically this is just a randomizer. So I've put all of your names in here and it's gonna randomize the list, and the winner is just gonna be the number 1. So Hike with Mike from YouTube. Yay! Okay, Hike with Mike, please message me your email address on YouTube Messenger so we can discuss shirt colors and sizes and stuff, because you just want a Hike Oregon t-shirt. Woohoo! Anyway, number 2 and 3, JT Healy and Shadow Warrior, also from YouTube. Please also send me a YouTube message with your address and I will send you a little something something. Anyway, I will have more giveaways as time goes on. And again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers, and I love you all.